The Art Beat, a weekly program putting you in touch with artists and arts events from the J.T. and Margaret Talkington College of Visual and Performing Arts at Texas Tech University. Hello and welcome to the Art Beat this week on KLZK FM 105.7. I'm your host, Peter Martins, coming to you from the Talkington College of Visual and Performing Arts at Texas Tech, where things between semesters are a little bit quieter than normal. So we are taking this opportunity to actually sit down today and talk with a couple folks in the Talkington College who are a bit more on the scholarly side of things. Two students who are nearing the end of their time in the Fine Arts PhD program, or the FADP program as we call it for short. So I have with me today Devin Guerrero.
Hello.
And Laura McCord.
Hello.
And these two students, thanks for being with us today. Laura is from the art track in this Fine Arts PhD program. Devin is from the music track. And
thanks for having us.
You bet. And we specify that because the Fine Arts PhD sounds somewhat generic. And so what students often are attracted to in the program are the ability to be a little broader in terms of their disciplinary scope, but still use their previous training and their focus in music or in art, or we have a track in theater. We also have newer tracks in arts administration, and then also kind of a choose-your-own-adventure track, I might say, which we're about to retitled the transdisciplinary track, where students can combine a couple of things from, music and anthropology, for instance, or art and museum studies. So we've got a couple folks from the somewhat more disciplinarily oriented tracks of art and music. So again, thank you guys for being here. And I know since the semester is done and we haven't started the spring semester yet, you guys are just doing nothing but relaxing, right?
Yeah, no.
In a perfect world, I would sleep, but I don't live in that perfect world, so.
Not yet. Right.
Yeah, I eat in between writing sessions.
Okay.
That's my life right now.
Okay, so Devin, you are in your last year and you are in the full grind of dissertation writing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so spring 26 is going to be your, I was about to say Waterloo. That's absolutely the wrong metaphor. Sorry. It's going to be your victory lap. That's what I meant to say.
I'm hoping so, yes.
Yes. And Laura, you're in your fourth year, so you're starting to coalesce ideas for a dissertation?
Yeah, I passed my proposal defense in October.
Oh, congratulations. All right.
Thank you. So I haven't quite made the leap into fully dissertating yet. I've been waiting until January, so.
Good for you. Well,
then I'll be full.
Here we are.
Full steam ahead. Yeah.
Okay. And just for the audience, if you don't know, the dissertation is maybe kind of obviously the large document that students write to fully complete and qualify for earning the PhD. But most programs has a proposal stage where a student sketches out, maybe 10, 20, even 30-page proposal, brings it to the committee, and it's helpful to get the committee all on the same page, to give feedback, to direct or redirect as necessary, so that the student doesn't come like, here's my 250-page dissertation, and it's not at all what the committee wanted or was expecting. So the proposal is an important stage. So congrats for getting through that.
Thank you.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your backgrounds. How did you come to this program, which it's been around for a long time. It's been around since the 70s, actually, at Texas Tech, but it's still only one of 2 or 3 in the nation that has this interdisciplinary flavor to it. How did you find this program? Why did you end up at Texas Tech?
I have been an art teacher for the past several years. I was teaching high school art in Austin, and I taught K-12 art for about 14 years in the Austin area.
Okay, all right.
And then in 2019, I decided to do my master's.
Okay.
And I did the Master's of Art Ed program through Tech, which is online. Mm-hmm. So I was doing that while teaching full-time. And about maybe 6 months away from graduating from that, I realized, hey, I like this. I like being real nerdy.
Student life suited you, huh?
Yeah,
okay.
And I got really into research and decided to continue. So I applied to the PhD program and got in, and that's where I'm at.
Okay. And that's great. That is one model, certainly, that the Fine Arts PhD students have, is that they come here for a master's in the various schools within the Talkington College, and then they learn about the program, and then they stay on. So great. You're a good example of that. Devin, how about you?
Yeah, oddly enough, I also was a teacher. I taught orchestra in Austin for 4 years before going to get my master's at CU Boulder in music theory. And I don't know, I think I read a lot in my master's. I'm still reading a lot, but I think that was the first time I was really exposed to a lot of literature. And a couple of pieces that I read from teachers at this university at Texas Tech caught my eye. And and then the course offerings, I also was interested in the fact that you have interdisciplinary track. One of the neatest qualities of it is you get to take classes with other folks in other disciplines, and that just kind of widens your perspective, I think. music people can be a little narrow.
Indeed, we can.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so we're especially bad at it, I think, amongst all the artists. And so taking class with folks that were interested in not only the different arts but also psychology and other areas has really motivated me to step outside my comfort zone quite a bit. So it's been great to learn from both the faculty and the students here, and I don't think I could have made a wiser choice.
Well, great. That's good to hear. And on that point, Laura and Devin here are in separate years, but did you ever have a class together as an art person, music person?
I don't think
I
we
don't
did.
think so, no.
Okay.
We hang out, but
We hang out a lot, but yeah, we don't. I don't think we ever had any classes together, no.
Well, the students that come in a given year, they're called a cohort, and they take a sequence of at least 3 courses. Sometimes it turns out to be 4 or 5 that they're all in there together, but it does forge this community, I guess, across these arts disciplinary boundaries. So that's it's good to hear that's a positive thing about the program. I certainly think it is as well. We do get into our silos, right, as we say.
Right, and many of the traditional music theory tracks are kind of proliferate that, if you like.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that was an attractive element of this program.
Okay. Laura, how about you on the interdisciplinary side?
I think, learning more about interdisciplinarity was really interesting. And, when I came into the program, I thought I was going to be studying like propaganda and had this whole like idea planned out. And then once I started to kind of open my mind to some of these courses and learning more, I just stopped trying to plan things, honestly. like, where is it going to go? And whereas like the kind of the opposite of what Devin was saying, that the visual arts track is much more kind of open.
Okay.
And so I really enjoyed having the space to explore and to kind of play, which to me is really important in my academic, journey, if you will. So learning more about interdisciplinarity and like learning how to incorporate different aspects of the arts into like my own personal research has been really enlightening and important.
Great. So you make me think of a distinction that I drew kind of when we opened here between the performing, or sometimes we say the applied side of the arts that is very present and very visible, right, in the community on and off campus in the Talking to College, and then the scholarly side. I drew that distinction. But one of the hallmarks of the Fine Arts PhD program at Tech that I especially appreciate is that we try to soften that boundary or make that boundary a little fuzzier between creating art, performing, whatever, and studying it on the other hand. So have either of you worked with that fuzzier boundary in your own thinking and work, and where has that taken you thus far?
My personal goal was to make all the boundaries fuzzy.
Okay.
So, my research, I deal a lot with arts-based research, which is different than research-based art. I think there's a common misconception. It's not doing research and then making art about that research. The art making is the research. So the actual act of creating. There's times when I start things that I don't really know where they're going to end up, because that's part of the research process. So that ties in directly to what I'm doing. My dissertation, while it is going to be a document, there is still like art making happening through the process of dissertating.
Previous work I've done has dealt with interdisciplinarity a little bit more than my current dissertation project. Maybe corpus study, you could say, is a way that I've applied methodologies from outside of my discipline. I guess they're fairly common now, but I don't know if I wouldn't know, because it's only my perspective that I can see through. Right. But I'm not sure if folks all around the country, I mean, based on the friends that I have around the country who are in other programs, they're not really getting that education. They're not learning about big data and that sort of science, sort of ways to measure qualitatively or quantitatively the differences or similarities in music based on some sort of data retrieval, I guess you could say. Right. And then also like behavioral study is a specific thing to a lot of schools. I think especially in Canada. I mean, your specialty is music psychology and
doing experimental work that we might think is more common or appropriate to psychology or sociology or that sort of thing.
Right. And I never experienced that in my master's, and I know many of the traditional tracks music theory don't experience that. So it's been great to come here and receive a lot of that. What would seem like supplemental or secondary. It's sort of like brought to the fore a bit more. Which has been nice. And, I've wanted to go down that. I've sort of had my feet in 2 different ant piles. Sorry, it's not a great way.
You must have grown up around fire ants. That's
I
all
did, yeah. Okay. So, it's at some point in my future, we'll probably pick one side. I don't know. That to me is hard to decide at the moment. But it's nice to have that flexibility now that I've been exposed to a large amount of stuff that I wouldn't otherwise have been exposed to.
Sure, and I think you make a great point that on the one hand, Laura, you're bringing arts practice or the applied side into your research as one of the methods. Devin, what you're talking about is bringing, again, methods or methodologies from outside of the traditional discipline that you're working in, which happens to be music theory, into that project. So even if you're feeling like, my project for my dissertation isn't terribly interdisciplinary. I would say it's still being very much informed, colored, flavored maybe by what you've learned in the program. And that's something we try to convey to prospective students, that you can come here and you can be as interdisciplinary as the day is long, right? And try to wear all sorts of hats. Or you can be straight down the middle theater historian or musicologist or whatever. But you're still going to have an enhanced approach to your subject based on what you learned from, in no small part, from your colleagues, your other students, right? Even beyond what you learn in classes from the instructor.
Absolutely.
I would say. I hope that's true as an instructor, that you're learning as much from other students as you are.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, not even just in like a classroom setting, but like you're talking about the cohorts. And we do end up kind of being like little families, getting to interact with other cohorts too. Like Devin is 1 year ahead of me. Yeah. I think I've picked up an equal amount of things from them that I do just from like a class setting, especially like when talking about philosophy and also just getting to see like different, like you said, the different tracks people take. Like, there's people in my cohort who are doing very straightforward stuff, and there's people who are doing very like avant-garde kind of big things. And it's kind of fun to see everybody's progress throughout this whole journey.
Right.
One unique thing about the collaboration part, and especially in class or outside of class, when you're hanging out with these other PhDs in fine arts, they're all well-read in some respects and have their own ideas and philosophies about art, whether they have to do with the one that they make all the time or not. Like, it's just being like an interested person, right? And reading a bunch, you can't help but have ideas. So it's really, I think, one of the most valuable aspects has just been sitting there and hearing what someone has to say about my work. That's not a music theorist.
Okay.
Right. That's because I imagine like that's a pretty good picture of what reality is going to be like for me, because not everyone's a music theorist. And people, when you take classes with people that are in your same track, you go down a deeper, narrower pathway. But when you take a class with people that are, in the art world, but outside your discipline, you get a bit broader and I might say more welcoming responses a lot of the time. So, and also different critiques, like different layers or levels rather of critique, right? Like some things that I wouldn't necessarily look at if I was looking at another music theorist's work. Yeah.
Right. You recognize that not everyone's priorities are the same as yours in terms of thinking and what are the important questions, what are the less important questions.
Yeah.
My priorities are very different than a music theorist's. I'll just say that.
It's so true.
All right. Well, I hate to open the door to the what's next question, but here you are.
I gotta go.
Nearing the end of your program.
You still get that teaching cert, right?
That's right. And right. Well,
that's
clearly, what we've done in this program is poached the best educators from the Austin school system, at least in this.
There you go.
In this case, but I'm certainly one that thinks that learning for its own sake is actually valid, a thing to do, right? And even if I come into a PhD program and then I end up doing more or less the same thing I did beforehand, as far as a job, I'm doing it a very different way at that point, right? But what are the things that you would like to see yourself or picture yourself doing in 5 years from now, let's say?
I really enjoy teaching. One of the big things to push me into this program was I want to teach at the university level, and I've been really enjoying it, like working with undergraduates as a GPTI has been really enlightening and fun.
Graduate part-time instructor,
yes,
right?
Yeah, and I think I'll always be an educator, so I think that's going to be a big part of what I do. But I'm also looking forward to incorporating like my own personal research, which is why I wanted to get into academia anyways, because while nothing was stopping me from doing that as a K-12 educator, time is a thing.
It's real. Yes,
time is real as much as I don't think it is sometimes. Having the environment and the space to get to do both sounds fantastic to me, and that's kind of like where I want to be 5 years from now.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record, but yeah, I'm first and foremost an educator, a teacher, an instructor. I feel more natural being in front of people than sometimes not. It's just I feel more alive, or something happens when I'm doing that. That's a really enjoyable thing, and I like to fine tune and get really nerdy about the lessons I teach and the angles that I take. And yeah, exactly like Laura, teaching at higher ed has been so fun. Having taught middle school and high school, I love teaching those kids too. But there's just sort of more opportunities when you're teaching at higher education.
Right.
Although as a GPTI, we are sort of working within boundaries. There's tons of room to kind of explore your own teaching identity, right? Because the people who are learning from you are, you might say, more interested or more invested than your average public school student.
They don't, strictly speaking, have to be there. Right.
Exactly. And so in the next 5 years, I mean, I'm at the end of the PhD program, so hopefully in the next couple weeks or months, I will have some sort of position etched out for the following semester so that I can continue to work with higher education and music and continue doing research and publish articles and do all those things, and hopefully turn my gaze a bit towards the sort of psychological side. That is something that I find myself always ending up doing at the end of a research project, or whenever you end up answering a research question, it always kind of ends up being like, well, is this how people perceive it?
Is this real?
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is true. Is it actually? Yeah.
So it seems like the place where we are all logically heading as music theorists, at least. So that's kind of a more specific aim for the next 5 years.
Great. Well, goodness, the time has flown here. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, Laura McCord and Devin Guerrero. And sorry to disturb your writing and or studying over break here as you prepare for the new semester. But we wish you best of luck in your final semester or final 3 semesters. And great to talk to you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
The Art Beat, a weekly program putting you in touch with artists and arts events from the J.T. and Margaret Talkington College of Visual and Performing Arts at Texas Tech University.